well, you've been through a few of these expos yourself, Mechel. Well, so you're pretty happy with how everything's going?
Yeah, like just as I said, like I came over here just to be a part of it and just share space with like-minded people who have like similar experiences.
Well, it's just amazing how many of a like-minded community there is out there for that particular art.
Yeah.
There's a lot of indigenous people that came in and we tell some real culture.
Yeah.
And then in the islands, you're like real conscious.
Yeah.
Culture. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic when you especially when you're expanding that awareness out to the like different cultures itself. I know it was a great celebration for indigenous cultures such as ours.
Yeah.
Being coming in from the Pacific and collaborating with the indigenous culture that we have here in Australia. So that was fantastic, man.
Yeah, well, that's why I wanted to come over. Like, knowing Keenan, the organizer of Indigenous Comic Con Australia, I was like, well, it's Indigenous Comic Con Australia. We need representation from New Zealand, Aotearoa, and Polynesia. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go over anyway.
Yeah.
And then like I invited Ali as well to come over.
Yeah.
Because with having done so many conventions over the years, like I've always been the lone Polynesian voice in those conventions.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh man, if I could bring a few guys with me to Indigenous Comic Con Australia, that'd be pretty sweet. And luckily Ali had media design school pay for his trip, but unfortunately there's another.
Thank you. Shout out.
Yeah, and there was a couple of other artists that I invited, but I applied for funding from Creative New Zealand to cover their travel costs. Got declined, so
okay.
Yeah.
Well, when you're first starting off, you guys are essentially pioneers for this type of movement going, and I mean it's always been there.
Yeah.
But now we're sort of bringing it up to to give everybody an awareness, especially the young fellas, young doodlers, artists that that think that it just stops at doodling. So especially the young taggers back in our generation, like. But no, I think it's fantastic. But going back to what you were saying before, about how there wasn't many islanders that were and people in general that knew about this sort of where to take this sort of art, comic and stuff like that. So, but when you were telling your story, it's always been thank you. It's always been a lonely awala for yourself. And it seems like that seems to be the challenge you keep on taking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like right from the get-go, it's a challenge. Because to be an artist in the comics industry, there's no real definite way to make it as a comic book artist. So every time I did something, it was something new, it was something groundbreaking, and I was just making it up as I go. Like it was like, oh, I'll try this, I'll try that, I'll try this, I'll try that, and then also with the New Zealand comics community, a lot of them are white guys.
Yeah.
So like a brown guy kind of coming into that space. Especially with the work I do.
Yeah.
So a lot of New Zealand comics very. I can't come up with another better word than wanky.
Okay. That's a good word, man.
So a lot of New Zealand comics. So yeah, a lot of New Zealand comics are very much philosophical, meaning of life stuff. Very.
I didn't even know there was a New Zealand comic movement.
Well, there is, and there's been a few creators who have won international awards and stuff for their work.
Wow! Like what sort of content do they put out? Like what sort of Is there a storyline behind,
It's
a same sort of storyline that they always put out?
The comics that they produce approach many different subjects. A lot of them are very not necessarily what you think of in mainstream comics.
Okay.
Not necessarily superheroes or anything. Very much meaning of life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. They kind of more like the
the Family Guy and
not like that. More like thought-provoking stories. Deeping, meaningful comics. And so that was kind of the scene in New Zealand. And then I come in wanting to do like my kind of mainstream comics, and my artwork is kind of mainstream style. And so right off the bat, I wasn't really accepted by the New Zealand comics community. Because of that, I wasn't doing comics like they were doing comics. And essentially, I just went, I'm not gonna ask for their permission to do what I want to do, so I just ended up doing what I want to do. Now I like it. Even now I don't get invited to stuff, but
so you just keep on going,
Yeah, but they can't deny the work I do. That's and that's essentially what I do. I was like, I'm not gonna ask for your permission, but I'm gonna put the work in and let my work speak for myself. To the point where they can no longer ignore me.
Well, when you showed me that the magazine, that WWF, was it?
Yeah,
that magazine. And that gets sent all around the world.
Yeah.
And then when you look at it, right on the top left corner, or the top right corner. The top right corner, right, is the name Mulipola.
Yeah.
I mean, how good is that?
Yeah, Samoan last name.
Right at the top.
Yeah. And the cover of the comic that is released everywhere around the world. That's trippy too. Like all my travels and that, I'll go into a comic book store and I'll see, there's my comic, and that's a bit buzzy.
Oh man! And then it's what's the word? It drives you, doesn't it? Because it's just another stepping stone to boost you, to go further.
It's definitely something that I never really imagined would happen. And so now I'm like, now that it's out there, it can't be denied. And to be honest, the first WWE comic, physical copy I got, I actually got quite emotional because when I got the comic, there was Mulipola right at the top of the comic, and it made me think about my grandparents. And,
oh man, we were talking about that before, about how much wrestling used to be a great part of the Polynesian culture.
Yeah.
Where back in the 80s or like 70s,
70s, 80s, like the on the mat days.
Parents used to take their kids.
Yeah.
Families used to go watch the wrestling, in the city. Where was it? Boys Town YMCA or whatever it was.
YMCA Street. Yeah. So just seeing Mulipola on the cover reminded me of my grandparents. It made me realise the sacrifices they made moving from Samoa to New Zealand. I think in 1967 is when they came over. And just honouring their name, honouring their legacy through my work.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
That's and you understand in our culture, your family name means everything. You don't want to put shame on the family and stuff. And so just seeing that in my hand and knowing that was going into comic stores around the world, I did get emotional.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well,
I totally didn't expect it to.
Oh, it's a massive achievement.
Yeah. So,
what about you, Ali? How's what was the journey with you like with your art? I knew you were shit hot when you were back in school, and then that's all right, man. We're allowed to swear on my podcast. My podcast, my rules.
I
no,
already said the F word, so
Yeah.
you guys are all good.
No, it's what I don't know. That's all I knew how to do.
yeah, yeah. But did you know that? Like, did you have to get help to be aware of where it could take you? Like, you know, you knew you're either I don't know, when you're younger and you keep on thinking like because they always keep on bombarding you, with all these images of landscapes and portraits and stuff
it's
like
all
that,
about-
and like they don't really segregate it and tell you that you could become a comic artist,
No, they don't.
or or not to say because you're pretty broad in a lot of mediums that you use for your type of art.
Yeah, so coming out through school, I think it's just the school system. They're not the teachers aren't exposed to that world. You know, the comics
Yeah.
the animation. No one's really exposed. The teachers are just coming straight from art school.
Yeah.
And then straight into teaching. It's not really. They don't give you much advice in that area. And plus, at the time I was growing up, it's there wasn't even courses, and the exposure to it wasn't there. And even now, it's still some teachers still are old school, like they still don't know about.
They don't recognise that avenue of,
They don't know
of
that
being a
it's,
comic
incredible.
artist,
Yeah,
anime and all that.
They don't really look into that. And I think it's just the way New Zealanders kind of, and in the art circles.
Is that just New Zealand though, Ali?
I think it's here too in Australia.
Oh, okay.
I think it's quite a
Yeah, it's still very underappreciated.
really.
But yeah, but isn't it like everything in life? Like, isn't that the thing that makes it cool? You know what I mean? Like, when you think about hip hop and all that urban culture,
And
it's like
it's not until
that exclusivity because people don't know that much about it makes it really cool.
Because it's the underground. You know, you just want to be different. So, but it's funny how it's just the paradigm changed now, and now that's the industry to be in.
Oh man, it's
So you,
it is like any type of content or media content or any type of way that you can express yourself is is getting highlighted a lot, and why not, like everything's becoming visual, so if
so many different avenues to express yourself now. Internet has opened the floodgates for creativity.
and especially Polynesians, so
our faces are getting seen. Comics.
That's why I wear a mask.
So, well, on the topic of masks, we're sort of segueing into your wrestling. Tell us about your wrestling, Mechel.
Yeah, so I've been wrestling for Impact Pro Wrestling in Auckland for 13 and a half years.
Oh,
In that time, I've been New Zealand Heavyweight Champion, been New Zealand Tag Team Champion a few times. One of those times with King Haku.
man.
So me and King Haku have been New Zealand Tag Team Champions together. I'm a King Cup Champion and stuff. But
So King Haku,
Yeah.
he used to be when he used to wrestle like on the big stage, big stage. Where was he basing himself? Was he over in America?
yeah, he was living in America, but he's from Tonga. His mum and dad lived in Auckland, in England. Yeah,
So now he's what? He's in New Zealand.
yeah,
now?
no, he's over in Florida. So
Oh, it's crazy.
yeah, no, that was crazy. Just sharing the ring with one of your idols.
Yeah.
You know, and sharing the honor of being tag team champions together. That's pretty dope. But in terms of like how I got into wrestling, I've always loved wrestling, somewhat.
Yeah.
But as a kid growing up, the WWF stuff, and Macho Man was my guy. When I was a kid, and all the other kids were like either Hulkamaniacs or Warriors. I was Macho Man because like I remember seeing that flying elbow drop for the first time.
Yeah.
I was just like, what? And as I got older, I created the comic book character which was essentially me as a pro wrestler. And I did a short comic. And after I finished the comic, I thought, it'd be funny if I could turn this character into a real life professional wrestler. So I tried out for Impact Pro Wrestling. I haven't looked back since.
Oh,
And
wow.
I managed to turn that comic character into a real life professional wrestler. So the persona, the character I portray as a wrestler is my comic book character. So, yeah.
Oh, it's crazy, man. What was that like when you first started? When you actually decided that when you first turned up to your wrestling club and all that.
Yeah.
Is it like some? It's not like you walk into a normal boxing gym, is it? Or?
No, there was a wrestling ring in there. So
Yeah.
there's about 20 people that
Oh, you're
try at the
kidding.
same time. I remember. Was I nervous? I don't remember feeling nervous. I just remember thinking, I'm just going to give this a go, and whether I make it or not, at least I gave it a shot. It's sort of like, it's way more than what other people are doing, So, and then I end up getting accepted because I was coordinated. But man, like the training's hard. The bumps, running the ropes. Running the ropes, not even just landing on the ground. Running the ropes for the first month or so that you're training.
What do you mean running the ropes?
When you hit the ropes, you know how the wrestlers run the ropes?
Yeah.
So for the first month or so, while you're training, running the ropes leaves bruises and marks on your back. So it's something as simple as that. Even that hurts.
Because they'll have to be tensioned up to a certain point.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So,
it's not like they're nice and loose or elastic.
Yeah.
Actual proper ropes.
So they're proper ropes. Some rings have steel cable. So
You're kidding.
Yeah. So
what do they do? That's dangerous as.
No, it's getting that spring back, and you got to have that tension to get that. So just something as simple looking as that, even that hurts. And then that's not taken into consideration when you're doing the bumps. You're throwing yourself at the ground. And you got to make sure your head doesn't smack the ground, or else you concussion.
You're one of those fellas that jumps on the top of the turnbuckle and flies off and does the double somersault. No.
No, I don't do that. But if the match calls for it, I will.
Just climb up there and just jump off.
I've done a frog splash.
Oh, you're kidding.
I've done a swanton bomb and stuff. Like I can do stuff, and most often they're not the high flying thing you'll see me do is a suicide dive. So my opponent's on the outside. I run, hit the ropes, and then I dive through the ropes into my opponent in the crowd.
Is that your signature move? What's your signature move?
My signature move is it'd probably be just the clothesline, just a lariat. I just like taking people's heads off. My finishing move is called the cape killer, and I drop people on their heads on a sharp angle. So people just go,
But you're when you do that, your opponents. They must have a lot of trust.
That's
like you both have to trust each other.
There's one big thing about wrestling is that you got to make sure that the person you're in the ring with is going to look after you.
Because I read somewhere, I can't tell you which wrestler. Actually, I can tell you which wrestler. It was Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
He used to stuff everybody up because he used to go that little bit extra distance, and he used to piss the other guys off because they used to get hurt.
Yeah.
Because he'd just go berserk.
Yeah. So you got to make sure there's that trust, because their life is in your hands, your life is in their hands. Because what we do as pro wrestling is it's very dangerous.
Oh yeah, hell yeah!
Without proper training, and that's why we recommend kids not trying it at home because.
Yeah, but they do.
Yeah, but even us as trained professionals, even we are at risk of serious injury. And so imagine kids who don't know what they're doing.
Is there still a following in New Zealand? Are there still young kids recruiting?
We've been seeing a steady growth in our audience in the Impact Pro Wrestling. And we've got a TV deal with Fight TV, which is
Oh wow.
an app where you can
Yep.
watch like wrestling, MMA, boxing, and stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Just last weekend in New Plymouth, we did our first live pay-per-view for Fight TV. So that was pretty cool, an experience where people around the world can watch us perform live, you know, and pay for it and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's slowly it's growing in popularity, and yeah, it's been pretty good. So,
Oh man, that's so good.
Yeah.
Sort of reminds me of that day. I always talk about it, Ali. That day we tried to enlist to become stuntmen.
Oh yeah.
It's sort of like that. Yeah. But just imagine if we had followed through. We both had ended up on the day 2 at Totara Park.
Oh, what did you?
Did you get that letter?
No, you just see it.
I just got that
I
letter.
never got it.
You're kidding, but you did better than me.
I never got it.
They had this one exercise that we had to do. What you had to do was you had to stand up on this big horse or whatever, and they had a mattress, and you had to have your back towards the mattress, and you remember that one?
Yeah.
And you had to just drop.
The trust fall.
Yes, and you just had to drop backwards. And then every time I did it, I must have done it about 3 or 4 times. Every time I did it, I always looked.
Yeah, it's a bit.
We do that. We do that when we do our tryouts.
Yeah.
In RPW. So we get them to climb the top rope, facing the thing, and then we have the blue mat, the crash pad, for them to fall back. And yeah, because this is kind of what it feels like. Most often the people trying out are pretty good at that. Well, you get 1 or 2 who kind of do the look back with the try to put the arms back. We're like, no, don't put your arms back, you break your arms. So yeah, but I remember when I did that in my try, I just did it. It was like,
Yeah.
stop it, I'm just gonna do it.
I don't know, because I'm not scared of heights, or I'm not scared of doing stupid stuff. For some reason, I just kept on looking.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I couldn't understand it. And then I seen Ali do it, and I was like, fuck, pick up your game set.
I was just to jump off the garage. So I like it.
Yeah.
So, tell us about growing up in Māngere,
Yeah.
Mechel.
Yeah, grew up in Māngere, Massey Road.
Yeah,
Just up the road from this guy.
yeah. Shout out. And what school did you go to?
So I went to schools in Indigicon, so
Yeah.
I went to St. Joseph's in Indigicon,
Yeah.
Manukau Intermediate, now called Royal Oak Intermediate, Manukau Intermediate and Indigicon High.
Only hung high.
So yeah, so I just walked down to town centre, catch the bus to school.
Did you walk to the taxi every day?
Oh, sometimes I walk over to the shops by the Mobile.
So you'd walk all the way down there in your was the green jerseys, eh?
Yeah, green.
And then you see all the other blue jerseys there,
No, not hard.
all the MCs.
No, because my mate who lived down the road, who also went to, I would walk over to his place, then we'll walk over to the town centre, and I didn't really see many MC students at the town centre at the time. I guess we kind of were going there a little late, but like we did see a lot of Esther kids jumping on the same bus.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that was it was. As the last one kids. Share the same. Yeah, same bus.
All coming out of Māngere.
Yeah.
Man, their parents mustn't have wanted them to go to.
31 and mix up.
They stay right next to Māngere College, and then they send them to other schools.
Yeah.
Must be something in there. Eh?
I went to St. Joseph's Country Road there. And then I went to Newham High School with my older cousins.
Yeah. And what was growing up? A young Polynesian kid growing up in the south side of Auckland. Was that like pretty good? Like you did what all the other islanders did. You went to school, went to church.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just that, and Luckily for me, I had comics and drawing was keeping me occupied. So I never had to go out on the streets and do silly stuff because I was exploring my own mind in my room.
Wow. Yeah.
But like manga is all I know. Bad stuff did happen, but then bad stuff happens everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just that stuff Auckland has that. That's the hood. That's where all the bad stuff happens.
Yeah.
But for me, that's home, and I love manga to death. Like that's everywhere I go, I always represent manga. It represents South Auckland.
Is South Auckland or say Mangere, is it the same as, is it the same place that you remember growing up? Because it's a lot different now that our generation and maybe the generation after us all starting to push out a bit further south.
Yeah, no, Mangere still feels like mine.
Okay.
I definitely community is even more diverse
Wow.
than it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I love that. I
Yeah.
love seeing new people.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, things have changed, like the Mangere Town Centre.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the same as it used to be. Like, where you had farmers and all the big shops used to be there. Now it's become a lot more based around the actual community. The markets now. There's a Mangere market, which wasn't there before.
Yeah, the Mangere market, I would say outdraws the Otara market.
Oh, you're kidding. That's sad. I love the Otara market.
Yeah, the Otara market, last time I was there, it seemed pretty dead compared to what it used to be like.
Yeah.
Still a lot of people go there, but like Mangere is jam-packed. When you go to the market there, like it's crazy how busy it is.
Well, it's good because it actually brings in, all the community and stuff like that. With the different generations, different ages, and I think it's a great thing, especially in Mangere. How about yourself, Ali? What was growing up in Mangere?
Yeah, there was like my bubble, and I never went out of there until I got older, but I felt safe here.
Yeah.
Especially with all the trees and like you and boys, and it's just, I don't feel like, like now you feel like you gotta lock the door, but back then I was like,
okay. Oh yeah, you're right.
I remember someone's house hang out for ages, and the parents would had no cell phones.
That's not a perception because we're that little bit older. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily wiser, but just we're a lot more. What do you call it? When you were that young, we used to be a lot more carefree and didn't think about those sort of things.
Now it's a lot more jaded.
We're just old and grumpy.
Oppressed in this area
Yeah.
because of now that we understand this, but my memories of growing up, that's good. I mean, never really come across too much racism, but there was that, subtle racism here and there when you would just meet up with certain types of people.
Yeah, that's why.
I just
I'm just talking about back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, we're so comfortable being around our own people. They always make you feel welcome or you need to start happy, and then if you ever came across some negative words, you kind of just oblivious to you that to just bounce off you because you're already you're raised really well. So you just bounce off you and just keep going on. Life's going on.
Part of that is why I call myself Bloody Samoan.
Oh yeah, tell us about that. That's awesome, man.
So something that was often said many times when I was a kid. Back then you never understood the connotations. You knew that we were saying something nice. You didn't realize that I was being racist.
Yeah.
And when I was coming up as an artist, artist, and I was trying to figure out a way to brand myself, brand my work, because I also understood that throughout my whole life, my name, Mechel Mulipola, was constantly butchered, and a lot of people wouldn't know how to spell it right?
terrible,
So I was like, okay, I need to create a brand which people can identify as me, as my work.
Yep.
Bloody Samoan just popped up because it came up when I did like this mock-up of the Samoa flag that was kind of like made out of blood splatters. Because like the Samoa flag's red, right? Major red. So I did like blood splatters, and then I kind of did like this kind of rough kind of Samoa flag, like this blood splatter. I was like, oh yeah, Bloody Samoan. Because that actually could be a thing, and then and then I ended up just started using it, and then now and then people are like, oh, how do we find out more about you? You got Bloody Samoan, just Google that, and now reclaiming that term and making it my brand, I've managed to turn that negative into a positive. So now when people talk about Bloody Samoan, more often than not, they talk about BMO.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So it's yours, like you've trademarked it, copyrighted it.
My company is Bloody Samoan.
It's fantastic.
Honestly, when I was registering the company, trademark and stuff, like IID as well. Like the people at the firm cracking up. So that's like the best. That's like the best name.
Oh, yeah, because they probably can relate to it. Eh? It's like, yeah, I'm a bloody Samoan too.
Yeah. There's one time I got some t-shirts like this a while ago. I remember working around on the back it said Bloody Samoan. Like it's got the blood splatter flag on my shoulders, like this Bloody Samoan. And there's one time at the, I think, World Masters Games a few years back, and I'm walking around in this little white guy, I hear him going, Bloody Samoan, and he starts kicking, he goes, that's awesome. So that's kind of why I use that brand name, because it's easy. It was something that people have heard, people that some of them have used, and it also kind of relates to my kind of sense of humor, which is always a little risque and dark, making fun of all the shit stuff. So,
That's so good, man. But I mean, like I was saying to you before when we were talking about the whole Bloody Samoan thing, it's like, it's funny how something like early on in your life could have been used as a negative, and it was a negative at the time, right? But then
I used to tell people, it was negative and stuff, and then now I say, no, it was outright racism. Like, there's no like subtle racism.
Yeah.
None of the racism. It's like,
Straight out.
Racism's black, it's black or white. That's extreme.
Yeah. But and how you can just right now you can just turn it around where you use it as a source of strength. So I think it's fantastic, man. It sort of puts everything in perspective. It keeps you a bit humble, like it makes you remember about those times.
A little bit of that too. It's kind of crazy. I can't take myself by utilizing that.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Making it my own.
And so, you with your art. How did that develop? Like through you went through school, you were drawing, and then from school you went.
Throughout school, I was always drawing.
Yeah.
I used to draw in the arts.
Yeah.
Used to draw science.
Maths.
Used to draw maths. And then obviously I had to draw.
All the poly kids there, they're watching this. Is like, yeah, man, that's it, man. Enough classes. I'm just gonna draw.
Yeah, because of all that drawing in those other classes, of course I was drawing in detention. But
that's awesome, man.
It's something I always loved to do.
Yeah.
as a comic book artist, they're very much like kind of
Yeah.
artists, and like the art teachers don't really understand it. I actually had some good art teachers.
Yeah.
Art teachers who knew
Yeah.
who I was and knew why I loved comics. But they also knew that they didn't know how to teach that.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
And so, yeah, a lot of times it kind of allowed me to do my thing my way. And so that was kind of cool. But the thing is, comics is a very specialized art.
Yep.
In New Zealand, there's only a handful of people that have the skills and the experience and the knowledge to actually teach it. Even now, it's not really being taught.
Oh, okay.
So back then, when I was looking at art schools, I visited freelance animation. And that was kind of cool, but animation wasn't what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And all the other art schools like Elam and Wycliffe,
Elam.
too wacky. And they're teaching stuff on that.
Okay.
So being a kid from Māori, I was like, I'm not going to go to student debt to learn all this shit.
Yeah.
So I decided to kind of just rechannel my energy into making comics.
How did that happen? Like, when did it get to the stage where you're drawing? You don't want to go to all these other places. They're not going to give you what you wanted to do, but you knew you wanted to draw.
Yeah.
How did it get to the point where you took that next step where this is I want to be a comic book artist?
Yeah, so like I've always wanted to be a comic book artist. I don't know how it happened. And I used to go to a comic book store with Gotham comics.
Yeah.
And me and a couple of other mates would always talk about drawing and comic ideas and stuff. And the manager, Jeremy, at Gotham Comics was like, well, you guys always talk about these ideas. If I can put the book together and print it, or you guys do the content. And so we were like, yeah, man, we're really good. And what's crazy is that I think I was the first. So New Ground, the anthology series, was created and at Gotham Comics. And I think I finished my comic story in a week.
Wow.
He was like, why are you finishing it? And that's kind of how I got started in terms of having my stuff printed with Jeremy and Gotham. I still hang out with Jeremy because Jeremy now owns his own comic store with Arkham City Comics, and I work there part time just to help him out. So I'm still hanging out with Jeremy and stuff, but like just having your stuff printed, like and not worrying too much about the cost of printing it was awesome.
Oh, I think you're very lucky. I don't think those opportunities come around where somebody's willing to give.
Well, yeah, exactly. It all started with I started going back to the comic store. Gotham. So before, all the comic stores were in the city, but then Gotham was in Honolulu, and they see pop up every now and then after high school. And then once I finished school, I started going back and talking to Jeremy. And I was like, oh yeah, there's some drawings I did and stuff. And just really was familiar with.
Sounds like an awesome bloke. Especially
He's married to a Samoan, so
he's
bilingual, but he's married to a Samoan.
all the stars aligned, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times it's right place, right time, but also the fact that I was wanting to destroy a mile.
I know that's also hard because when I came to the Indigicon, when I brought my niece over, and I said bring all your stuff, show them what you got and all that, and you can get tips and stuff like that. And she brought it, and she seemed pretty keen when she got it, and then we got to the actual place, and she was like, oh. I said, go get your stuff. And she was like, she didn't want to get it. And I said, oh, all right, just leave it there. And she was like, oh,
She got her thinking about
I know. I should have been a real islander. Hey, go grab that stuff. That can't. No, but she didn't want to bring it, and that's fair enough. So we took her in.
I think what we did was awesome with her, just to expose her. And then she saw Polynesians doing it.
Oh, it makes. I tell you, it makes a massive difference when you see your own culture like invested in something that you love doing as well, you know?
Then you know the Fijian student name, Harry.
Oh yeah.
And he tried to take on Miguel and he was talking himself up and I was like, oh yeah, I was encouraging him to play him and then
What's that look in his eye, eh? Like he was up to no good, eh?
It's like these suckers don't know what they're stepping into.
I know. I think I set him up like a sting operation.
Oh yeah, no, you should be. You just love it, eh? Yeah, but how about yourself, Ali? Like, you went through the conventional way of schooling with art and stuff like that. So you went through the whole tertiary school, high school, and then you evolved into university.
Oh yeah, I just did it because it was pretty much where they were steering it. You know, the school system was steering you that way.
Yeah.
And so just like when I got through to Simcom and I had to apply to do the applications for AIT, AUT, and ELIM. Yeah, we was put through our, our portfolio through. And it's kind of was, just going through the motions and you really don't know where it's going to. And so, I did it, but in my heart, just I knew I was not really where I wanted to go because when I actually got to go to AIT, I could do the work and that was cool, but I was quite shy, so I didn't really do anything of the verbal stuff very, very well. I didn't like to, because it was a whole new world. It took, from marketing, then going to a place where there's a lot of mostly Balinese.
Yeah.
So it was a real culture shock to go into that atmosphere. So I kind of almost a little bit withdrew into myself. But I could see there was, I did it and I finished my year and it was a good experience, but I think, instinctually, it's not right to be in that field because there's a different calling that you don't know what it is until you know what it is. Like I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it was good there. Miguel always knew he wanted to do comics.
Yeah.
And I just knew I just wanted to do something else that wasn't fine art or was graphic design.
That's always the hardest thing, isn't it? Like when you're at that point where you love drawing, you love art, but it's like the direction that they're pointing you into is not what you really want to. But it's like, and I'm sure a lot of islanders, and it's not only to do with art, they get to that point, and then actually it sort of cuts them off, and they almost do like a 360 or 90 degrees, but they don't keep on going forward with it,
And I think it's a lot to do with pressure from your family
to get extra
jobs. Okay.
Yeah, to the job thing. And,
that's a massive thing.
The church
Polynesian culture too.
I love lovers and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was lucky enough to. My parents would just support me, and even if I did something like, for example, when I took up DJing, because I just in general I like being creative, and so when we started DJing and stuff, and I used to buy records, and then I could tell just by the words my parents said to me, like, hey, in Samoan, you gotta eat that record, when I bought the record. And then I kind of was like, again, I was like oblivious to be able to, she mean that I'm wasting money, and so. What I did do was I turned my creativity. I turned my creativity into something lucrative. Like I started getting hired to DJ weddings and stuff and socials. So when I bring that money back in, I think a lot of us do this. We give it back to our parents. And I was not until I got a really good job as an extra. I'm not an extra, standing for like Jimmy Smith's.
Wow.
That I started getting paid really good money in the creative industry. And then I kind of caught the bug from here that I knew I wanted to do something more with who I am, like utilise my actual talents. And that was not just doing stuff like that, but just like my drawing for making money. Because, I never really been exposed to like finance and graphic design, but when I got into like looking into the film and TV industry, I thought that was where I wanted to be. So I kind of fell into animation because I was just doing painting at a Robertson Road school in London. So this is all, just in our neighbourhood. It's just happened to be that I met someone who knew about our animation.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
So just by, that old saying is surround yourself with people, like-minded people.
Wow, yeah.
And I just happened to, be around some other artists, and just like Mechel went to be around the comic book shop, that's how he got his opportunity. So I just was around people that, well, just was so lucky that I could find someone that knew about it.
I'm a firm believer of, you can be lucky, but I'm a firm believer that you like to push the percentages your way. You know what I mean? You got to make your luck.
When you put yourself in that environment, you're probably gonna end up finding the right person.
So I think Ali should be aware of my secret origin.
Yeah.
My secret origin.
Oh, snap!
So 2010, I've done a few comics for the Negro Anthology, and I'm like, where to from here? Like, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
I was like, I want to draw comics. Definitely. Like, how do I make that step upwards from anthologies to something better, or not better, but bigger? And V energy drinks.
Yes.
And a Facebook competition, right? And it was called
Oh,
Pimp
you
My
guys
Life.
have killed it for this stuff.
Yeah, it was called Pimp My Life. And they were asking people to tell V how V can pimp their lives to the amount of $10,000.
Yeah.
And I had a whole bunch of friends who had entered this competition. So it kept popping up on my newsfeed. And I was like, what the fuck is this competition?
Yeah.
So we clicked on it. And then I see all these entries. And all the entries, it was like thousands of entries. It was the same old shit after same old shit. It was pimp my bills, pimp my wedding, pimp my ride, pimp my house, and blah, blah, blah. It was like the same old shit over and over again.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, where's the cool shit? Where's the different shit? Like, where's the shit that makes people go, oh, what's this? So it's after seeing all the same old shit, you get sick of it. It's almost like seeing too many white people. I was like, I'm going to enter this competition. And so with the competition, I said that I was inspiring comic artists and I wanted to, with the $10,000, use that money to go to San Diego Comic Con and see if I have what it takes to be an artist. It wasn't like I'm going over to get a job.
Yeah.
I'm going over to show my work and see where I stand.
There you go. You're making your luck.
And so what was good about this competition is that you get one image to go with your entry to
Yeah.
So I ended up creating a 2-page comic of V-Man for my image, and as soon as I entered, I caught the attention of the contest organizer. Because as soon as I entered, they shared it. I'm like, check out this comic, check out this entry. So I was like being a point of difference.
Yeah.
I've always been in terms of being a Samoan comic book artist, being just Samoan in general in the white society. I use that point of difference to stand out. Which again can be counterintuitive for the Polynesian families.
Yeah.
Because you're often told not to stand out, not to make noise.
Oh, hell, man.
Keep it down.
I think that's changing, though.
Yeah. No, exactly.
But it's good that we're aware. That's how. Culturally, that we were brought up. But it's good that we're starting to break out of that.
So I entered the competition. So after about 3 months, I won 10 grand for free energy drinks.
I remember that.
Yeah.
You must have known you were gonna win it, man.
Obvious when you see it.
Yeah.
I knew I had to tell. That's why I entered it, because I knew that my entry was going to catch a lot of attention. Well, that's what I hoped it would. And that's exactly what I did. And then so many other people voted for me because they were just like, oh, this dude's the man. So I won that 10 grand. And about half of the money I spent on art supplies.
Yep.
And this thing started itself.
And computer,
Well, that's good business, isn't it?
Just in yourself.
Well, that's the thing. Growing up in Manly, money wasn't necessarily around easy, right? And so I'm like, okay, I got all this money. And the thing is, I wasn't contractually obligated to go up and say, they were just going to give me the money, and I could do with it whatever I please.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, this is money that I would most likely not see again.
Yeah.
Use it wisely.
Oh, how you break the rules, do it your way, yeah.
So, art supplies and upgrade the computer. And then the other half I went to San Diego. And that first San Diego trip is what completely changed the trajectory of my career. So I went over to San Diego. DC Comics had, at the time, they had a portfolio review, which they didn't have anymore. And the big companies that do portfolio reviews like that anymore. So if you have a portfolio, you're an artist, you put it into their cubbyhole at the booth, and then later on that night, a whole bunch of editors sit around and go through the submissions. And if they like what they see, you get a call back the next day. So I was like, I flew 14 hours to get here. There's no way I'm not going to pass this up.
Yeah.
So I put my portfolio in there. And then the following day, there's my name on the board. I got the call back. One of the editors had saw potential in my work. And nothing ever came of it, so I haven't done work for DC since. But knowing, like, having talked to the editor and stuff, that was the moment I realized that I could do this. That was the affirmation I needed at that point in time to let me know, you know what, you're good enough to do this. Because San Diego Comic Con, there's like 150,000, 200,000 to 200,000 people. We congregate in San Diego for the convention from all around the world. And I knew I was pretty good for New Zealand standards. But I wanted to test myself on the international stage to see if I was good enough to do it worldwide. And so that happened. Then, also at that first San Diego Comic Con, I met Michael Kingston, who used to write off the headlines. He was doing a wrestling comic.
Yes.
And I'm walking by him, a wrestling comic. So I come up to him and go, oh, hey dude, I'm a wrestler and artist from New Zealand. He goes, oh, do you have any of your work? And I was like, yeah. So I showed him my portfolio. He's like, fucking hell, dude, you're awesome. Like, we got to do something. I've been working with them ever since. And the headlock graphic novels, the headlock graphic novels have gone to work with Jerry the King Lawler, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Ric Flair, Mick Foley on that book.
Man.
And through headlock is how we got the WWE stuff. So all that taking a chance of betting on yourself. And putting yourself out there.
That's why it's so important at these expos, right? When you're walking around, don't just look, actually engage yourself. Actually go up and start talking to, a lot of these, the store owners and stuff like that, because they can give you, they can create an opportunity or they can just help you out immensely.
That's definitely the catalyst for where I'm at now. Some of the international successes I enjoyed is all through that Facebook competition. And
that's so
trying
great.
to stand up for the crowd. Trying to be different, and that's one thing I'm a big advocate for that in terms of using your differences in a positive.
Man, I think you got a major platform that you can run off to really help people in general, but more specifically Polynesians. The young budding Polynesian artists. That now can see the potential in themselves as being a comic book artist, and creating that different world, outside. Because I talked to you about it before about how very similar, being a comic book artist, because you're saying that if your art revolves around lines, which is pretty much when you're talking about the kakao, you're talking about the patterns, the traditional Samoan patterns and the lines that we run off. I see why not. It's just an involvement of that in itself.
It's so powerful to take a line, take a shape, and then turn it into a story.
Oh, hell yeah.
It brings life to something. You get the power to it. But the thing is, just to remind you that Miguel's really good because he practices. I'm really good because I practice. The key before you put yourself out there. So a lot of people brought today because I teach students and they want to be really good, but some of them they want to put the effort in.
They want to be good right then, right
Yeah,
now.
they'll see us where it's now, but they think it's easy, but it's not.
Oh no, I can see where that happens because
Just there.
I talked to my nephew, right? Even my son, he's really good at drawing, right? And he's all black and white. He only likes using pens and stuff like that. And I'm like, son, maybe you should try, broadening it and maybe use color and all that. And he goes, yeah, but back to black and white. It's like, how do you break them out of, even as a parent, you can't get through. How do you break them out
that
of?
kind of stuff? Like it very much depends on the artist.
Yeah.
There'll be times where like you're in your group, and then a lot of times there's times where I'm going to push myself, and they start trying something that's
It's down to the individual.
Yeah. So like at one point he'll get to a point where maybe I should try this. Yeah. Or when they feel that they're too comfortable, that's when you start pushing them.
Well, it's obvious that's the difference between a good artist to a great artist. Like, is how much they want to make that next step,
Yes. And each, like I always tell people, like an artist's journey is their own. And the thing is, you're not. If you're an artist, you're not on the same journey as another artist. So it's not like you're fighting for the same position. Like we all have our own lane and we all have our own obstacles and side tracks and stuff like that. We can only speak of our own experiences to hopefully help provide a general map for other artists to follow. But each artist's journey is their own. It all depends. And there's no real this is the answer.
So with you, Ali, where do we go from here? Like you're teaching at the moment in Auckland?
Yeah, media design school. It's really cool there because so, for example, for me, I've been the only Polynesian, me and another guy been the only Polynesians there for quite a while until recently. The university had a big turnaround and focused on the inclusion of cultures, especially because they're based in New Auckland, Ngāti Whātua. That they want to acknowledge, and as well as New Zealand, they want to acknowledge the tangata whenua. So they're pushing that it's all firstly about the people first, indigenous, and including Pacific Island, obviously with that. But they've changed the turnaround. And me being here is because I applied for a grant to. There's a part of research to come and see how I can connect my culture through the Indigicon, so that's why I'm here.
I think what you guys are doing here is so important, and I think it's definitely something to take back to New Zealand, where there's a massive community based around Pacific Islanders.
And I know that there's pop culture as well as, and that's a culture that we all grew up in with pop culture as our. It's just how we grew up. We from
the trendy culture.
Yeah, the trendy culture. All the trendy culture. We had our workshop years and all that. We just kind of had the urban Pacific. Because we also had to deal with being a New Zealand born, coming up turning up in New Zealand and how we fit in. So that was our putting in. I think it was through pop culture. And
I remember reading and watching some breakdowns of why kung fu films were in black neighborhoods and stuff.
Right up the island of culture. We loved our kung fu
films. Diaspora, like folk cultures, those who are kind of born away from their homeland and stuff are always looking for connection. And like in like the kung fu films, it's like always connect because also the white person is always there.
Yeah.
You know, and there's also like and there's always like and especially with like tribal cultures, honor is usually part of like honor is usually a part of like the kung fu
Keep
stuff.
plugging, brother.
Yep. Honor's a big thing in martial arts and whatnot.
Oh yeah, the whole just especially with Japanese and all that. Yeah. There's a lot of similarities with that in Polynesian culture in itself, just with discipline and and loyalty and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Rituals and stuff. So like New Zealand's own, and especially with like a lot of Maori and Polynesian parents made sure the kids didn't speak the language because of back in the days then you get in trouble when stuff you were speaking the language, the disconnect. We were looking for stuff to connect with, and they usually came in the form of pop culture and martial arts films and cartoons and comics and stuff, video games.
It was I don't know. What do you think it was? It was a sort of like a time where maybe some of us sort of it was a movement of rebellion against we've been brought up and how disciplined we were as Polynesians, that we look to that side of the communities with the white community, that we try to align ourselves. Or you think it was just a matter of just being around? Those are your friends,
Yeah, it's. I think it's a mixture.
Okay.
There's no necessarily definitive answer. I think there's a whole bunch of little things that create that situation. So not too sure what exactly we'll see. But, like I don't know about you, Ali, but I know when I was into comics and cartoons and action figures, and I like to listen to grunge music and stuff. And,
oh wow!
And people used to be like, "Hip like."
It's
like and it's like those are traditional Pacifica things. So like so people are like you feel palangi.
Oh, the feel palangi thing.
No, it's just because I like it's just like as I don't know if you Mamadi Kansi, and I used to get my comics from the record shop. Hey, it's up. So I don't know. It's just. But go to church, for example, read the Bible, and I'm like going to sleep. I don't want to be there. Sort of. I want to go because I want to go home through the shops and buy some milk tubs. Go for 1 cent. That's why I went to church.
Yes. So I was so my church was on East Street in the city, and
what church was that?
It's Congregational Church of Jesus.
Okay.
So I was on East Street, just off K Road, and I'll do Sunday school, and then during service, I'd run down to Queen Street and go to the comic stores.
That's right. Yeah. So that's it's an alternative.
Yeah, because like I'd always sit in the back. My grandparents would be in the front, and I'd always sit in the back, and so like once the trip started,
that's awesome, man.
Run down to Queen Street.
Did you have to get dressed up in your ifai-kanga?
No.
Because I'm just picturing you running down Queen Street in your ifai-kanga.
I usually had like pants.
Oh yeah. The nice black shoes.
Yep. So that's why I used to just run across and like back then Harris for sale was across the road too, so I just sit there and then run down to the Queen Street.
Well, we didn't have comics in our dairy.
Did you?
No, we just the one near the church. PIPC and Manly. I didn't think they. Well, anyway, I just got the lollies.
The shops on Frisian and Ottawa.
Oh,
You know,
Yeah, they had you know, I was just about going to say that.
Yeah, so yes,
They had a little rack
yeah.
with,
oh,
the,
sorry.
with the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, so I used to get comics there.
Yeah, because I used to live around the corner and I used to look at them all the time.
Yeah, so
But you see, that's another question as well. Like, growing up, what sort of comics did you guys read? Was it always DC? Was it always Marvel? Did you read all the Did you read all the World War II
Oh, yeah.
Who Dares Wins
I
comics?
think I had some of those.
Yeah, yeah, Commando.
I looked at artwork.
Yeah, it was so good.
Oh, my
You learn a bit of German along the way too, you know. Yeah.
My favorite was Mad Comics. They actually
I love
they
that.
stopped making them now.
Oh, that's sad.
It's really sad because that was my favorite.
But yeah, no, I just love any comics. Like I read my uncle's ones, but then when I go to the dairy around the corner, I go out and fish. Whatever comics they had, I just buy it.
Wow.
And that's what the comics are, just comics. You know? I don't care what it was. It's a comic, I'm gonna read it.
I know, because the comics back then, they were all big labels, eh? There was not like now, you got so many independent label comics around.
That's
Like,
probably like with the independent stuff, there's more voices being, more stories being told,
Yeah.
you know, beyond just the visual comic fare.
But to say that if the Bible was done as a comic, I would have went to church.
oh, that's pretty interesting, man. There you go.
I'm sure there is one now.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot. I'm sure there's. Really?
There have been a couple of comics at the Bible.
Yeah. But yeah, I just. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, every.
He just asking if we needed the right.
Oh, oh shit! Look at me, man. No, well, no, thanks a lot. I'll close it up, man. Thanks a lot for sharing that.
Yeah.
That was really good, man. I really appreciate it.
The discussion about the Bible. I was about to say, I'm an atheist, but
So, all the islanders are going to start burning crosses in front of your whale, man. Nah, but that's fair enough. I think it's becoming diverse like that as well. Like there's a different attitude towards religion, that's for sure, and so many different different attitudes towards it.
yeah.
But you know, it's all out of respect and love, and that's the final word.
Yeah, no, for me, like, I was like, people find out, they're like, oh, but, like, you know, aren't you afraid of how it's been? Nah, the threat of, like, damnation is not what makes me a good person. What makes me a good person is me being a decent person. Yeah, it's like, that's, you know, I don't need this hanging over me, or just like this parental figure going, if you don't do this, you ain't, I'm like, I'm a good person because I'm a good person. Thanks.
No, my lord, man. No, but thank you very much, man. You are a good person, bro. My lord,
Thank you.
thanks a lot, man.
Thank you for
It's
breakfast.
good seeing you again, man. Your hair's getting longer and longer every time I see it.
Hi, thank you.